My thoughts on Impact Wrestling, my thoughts on the whole situation involving MVP, the King of the Night, Kenny King, and Bobby Lashley. Uh, I've been seeing a lot of things that have been happening in TNA wrestling for the past few years. And, to say that the talent is going all the way down would be a very, very, very understating statement. You know, I'm always going to be one of those people that will always dig professional wrestling no matter what. Because while people are still clinging to the WWE universe and all the other stuff, there's still pro wrestling fans out there. They'll still dig what's going on, even if it's bad, and that's usually true in most cases. Impact Wrestling is pretty much an example. What happened this past week with MVP turning heel? I'm going to kind of give you my analysis and my thought about what I think about that whole thing. First, I'm going to start with Eric Young, him being the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I think his reign as champion should have ended at Sacrifice. I believe that should have been the way to go because, in many ways, I see Eric Young. I'm glad he's champion first of all, and I think a lot of other people are. But I think some people have already gotten to that point where they just now want to see him just lose the championship to somebody else. And while there are others that think that Eric Young should hold on to the championship much longer. So in this case, he's holding on to the championship a little while longer. He's defended his title up against Magnus not once but twice. He beat Bobby Roode. He also beat Abyss, and those are world champions right there that have held on to that championship. MVP doing what he did. First of all, I think it's a great move in many ways possible. But also, a lot of people have also seen this. MVP is practically pulling a Triple H out of his own hat, and in most cases he is, because I kept hoping for MVP to kind of bring out someone that Eric Young has never faced before. I was hoping for like an Austin Aries, because he's a former world champion, and I don't think Austin Aries or Eric Young have ever faced off against each other. But I thought it'd be great. Or I thought, in most cases, I thought we would have a King of the Mountain match to take place at Slammiversary, because that has always been an innovative match, and plus that has always taken place at Slammiversary. Every year, it's going on its 12th year right now. Slammiversary has always had the King of the Mountain match, and that has always been the match for Slammiversary. But apparently they took that shit off, and plus I believe the King of the Mountain match is Jeff Jarrett's idea, which everybody knows. Jeff Jarrett is starting his own wrestling promotion, which is called I think it's called Global Force Wrestling. I believe that's correct. He pretty much owns the title simply because he owns the King of the Mountain title, and if he owns the King of the Mountain title, then he owns the match itself. So I can kind of see that. So MVP changing from him being a good guy boss to being a heel boss, which, like I said, it's a good move in many ways, but it's kind of something that Triple H had already done. Triple H, being the authority in WWE. And let's see, now he books himself in a match for Slammiversary for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Eric Young. Do I think it's a good idea? I think it is, but there still needs to be like that spark that says, okay, he deserves it, he should have it, and everything. This past Thursday night on Impact Wrestling, I had a chance to watch it while everybody else was watching NXT. This whole confrontation with Eric Young and MVP is really good. I like it because it's kind of taking a toll or taking a different term in every way possible. They kept fighting each other. There was this one part. I was on Twitter, And there was this comment that Austin Aries made about how they edit out the part where he wasn't involved, which he was. Because if anyone saw Impact Wrestling, there was a part where MVP had a confrontation with Austin Aries. Security was right there, and they pretty much grabbed Austin Aries, and then pretty much MVP had did what he did, beat up Austin Aries and took him out of the picture. And then it gave Eric Young time to go ahead and get him, attack him, and then MVP took advantage of the whole situation, and then um, books himself in the match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And sure enough, main event time comes along, and then things start to change. And it seemed like Eric Young was already on the verge of beating MVP, but I kind of knew that MVP was not going to just go ahead and let him beat him. He was going to somehow come up with a plan. And all of a sudden, here comes Kenny King, the King of the Night. He comes out, and it was crazy. It was crazy that he came out, especially with all the things that have been happening between those two. And then, even though I MVP tried to, he pretty much did what Triple H did. Remember when Daniel Bryan was down and he got his ass kicked by both members of Evolution, and then all of a sudden he tells the referee to ring the bell or you're fired or something like that? Well, MVP pretty much did the same thing, except the only difference was MVP didn't touch a referee. He didn't touch a referee, and there was a reason why he didn't do that. And Kenny King, he went ahead and he hit the referee. And then after that, all of a sudden, here comes Bobby Lashley coming down the ramp. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, this is good. But at the same time, my wrestling instincts tell me, wait a minute. Let's not jump the gun here. Let's see what happens. Is he going to do exactly what I think or the fans think he's going to do? Or is Bobby Lashley going to go ahead and, pull the old switcheroo on everybody? And the thing is, you have to also understand that MVP did hire Bobby Lashley back. And he hasn't appeared in that many matches. But it kind of makes me realize that he's kind of like the enforcer for Bobby Lashley. Enforcer for MVP, I'm sorry. And that kind of makes me think, oh crap, and everything starts to come in together, right? So, all of a sudden, here comes Bobby Lashley, and then he goes ahead and turns on Eric Young. And before you know it, here's MVP, here's Kenny King, and Bobby Lashley, all coming together, beating up on Eric Young, and everything is set for Slammiversary. And now we have this new alliance that's being taken place on Impact Wrestling. Now, this is something, believe it or not, is what Impact Wrestling really needed. Because for the past few weeks, they haven't had any shocking moments. They haven't had anything that's huge or rare or anything of that nature. Bobby Lashley, MVP, and the King of the Night, Kenny King, they're going to take over Impact Wrestling. To the wrestling world's view, and please don't think this is racist. It's, I guess, in their words, in the wrestling fans' words, it's the Black Evolution. which in a crazy way, I think it kind of is, but at the same time, you don't want to be like Evolution, because Evolution is Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton, three of the greatest champions to ever step foot in the WWE ring, while you got MVP, Bobby Lashley, and the King of the Night, three fresh new talent, three great talents, I might add, and a group that I think will change Impact Wrestling. And we need the change. Impact Wrestling does need the change. And what is my prediction for Slammiversary? I think it's pretty obvious right there. You have MVP to take on Eric Young for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship at Slammiversary, which will take place over in Arlington, Texas. And I'd give anything to be back in Arlington, Texas, not just to see the pay-per-view. But I think my prediction is going to go, MVP is going to become champion. I have a feeling that's going to happen. And plus, you have to also ask these other questions. And these are the questions that I think that have been failed to answer. And I'm kind of hoping that those questions will be answered this coming Thursday on Impact Wrestling. Not only the question about why this group formed, but what was the deal with him and Dixie Carter? What was his real purpose for being in TNA wrestling? His real purpose, and who brought him along for the ride? Because that still hasn't been answered. Even though MVP has an investment with the company, there's still a few unanswered questions, and I think the fans will definitely be interested as to what MVP is going to say. So I can't wait to check it out. And as you know, Slammiversary is coming up on June 15th, live and exclusively on pay-per-view in Arlington, Texas, and it's going to be great. I can't wait to check it out. MVP versus Eric Young for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and like I said, there's a good chance that MVP could not only become the champion, he could completely take control of Impact Wrestling. And plus, there's this little thing between Dixie Carter and MVP that needs to be resolved, and it's going to happen this Thursday. Are we going to see them kind of joining forces, or are we going to see them just still hate each other for the same purposes? Personally, I hope they stay hating each other, because I don't see any point in having those two become one in Impact Wrestling. Because if that happens, Impact Wrestling is already going down the tubes. If it goes down any further, it's the end of TNA Wrestling. Just like it was the end of WCW. Get the picture?